So now we want to set up our database. So you have to create a database. If you go on W3 Schools, you'll see that you can create a database from code, but I believe you have to create it first in our free web hosting because if you try to create it, it'll say access denied. So first we create our database. We go here, we go to MySQL databases. Some people say MSQL or something. But anyway, so we have our databases here. So I have a few databases. You might not have any if this is a new account, or it might have a default database. Leave any default databases just in case they do something. Anyway, but right now we have 6 of 400 available databases. All of that for free. Wow. Anyway, so what I'll do, I'll create a new database called, you can name this anything you want here. So I'm just going to create database. So now it created it and it has that name. So now I go to the bottom. Oh, I go here. This is the database I just created. So notice this is my username. This will be my login password for this account. This will be the host name. So these are the 4 pieces of information you will need. So anytime you need, and this as well. So anytime you need information on the database you're using, come here and look at it. So right now we just want to make sure we can connect to our database. So if we follow on W3 Schools, MySQL is the improved MySQL database. So there are 3 ways, 3 sets of code they give on accessing databases, but we won't use object-oriented, we won't use the PD or PHP data objects. I think the procedural is the simplest one, which should be easier to follow, so we'll use this one. So you can copy this code, and what we'll do, we will come back to our file manager. We will actually paste in that code. So the things we need the server name, which we would have seen in the database here, MySQL hostname. That's going to be the server name. Username is going to be your username, which is here as well. This is username. We'll need the password, which will be your login password. You can use that. Replace this with your login password. And let's just see if it connects. So we go to the website and we see that it has connected successfully. So that means we entered the right stuff, and we have a working system, which is great. So just to show you how to do this, I just created a demo file called db.php. So you would go here, new file, db.php, and I just paste that in to test it. When I went here, you'll go to your URL, and at the end of it you'll add db.php to run that file. So now we're going to look at W3 Schools, follow along with W3 Schools, and we want to create a table. So in our database, the first thing we'll do is create a table structure to store our data. So in terms of storing items for a checkout, we can name the table something like checkout. We don't want to store first. Maybe we might need the person's name. So I'll just keep the first name for simplicity. To understand what these mean, these are data types. So it's saying this is what you'd name in the table. And basically, tables usually have a primary key to identify each record, because you can have duplicate records, but the primary key will identify it and it auto increments. Here is a list of data types that you can use. This will be SQL, so SQL provides a whole lot of functionality, searching and sorting, but we're just going to keep it simple, and all we need is to create the table. Alright, so this is the syntax here. We're just going to copy that code and we paste it in here. So I've edited it. We're going to store a first name. We're going to have an item. we're going to have the price being stored as a float, I guess at 10 digits, or I think it's 10, but anyway. And we have a registration date. Reg dates will store a timestamp for when this record was stored in the database. So that's cool. These are some cool features. And we just copy that code. We didn't have to think too much. So this is in a standalone file. We just want to create the table for right now. And then we'll go to our link db.php. That's where I pasted it in. Before we do that, let's go here. So in our database here, you can watch a YouTube tutorial on PHP My Admin. That's what this is. So this database here is where you can go and configure it manually, add tables, delete records. So I'm just going to click admin and it takes me to this page. So right now it's just an empty database, right, which is the one we just created. So I'm following what DoubleTree Schools, but in here you can do all sorts of things. You can run SQL, delete records. So we'll see how it looks after I run the code. So right here I'm just going to hit enter, and table my guess created successfully. So we could have named it checkout or something, but I just left as my guess. And now if we go back in here and we refresh this, we'll see we have one table, and let's click on it to see how that looks. So you see we have ID, first name, item price, registration date. So we can add items from here. We're going to be using code because that's what we'll need to update the database. When the user adds an item, we want it stored in here, and we can then come in here and as an admin and edit it. Or in our web interface we can delete records that you're going to build, if and so on.